What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about a build that no one is talking about, but I think it is going to be a very strong build for the upcoming patch in New World. This build is definitely flying on the radar because I'm not seeing anyone running in wars and OPR. Maybe I personally haven't seen anyone, but I think I've heard people mention one or two people have ran it in OPR. But before we get to that, let's talk about why the build is even viable to begin with. So the PTR notes came out actually I guess a while ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, and they basically nerfed Fortify. This is obviously going to impact other things like shirking Fortify, which a lot of people run for wars on their builds, right? The guys at New World fans even did a test where they ran some numbers, and you can see here that the nerf is actually pretty significant. Like shirt for fortification and stuff. I don't know, fortification is just kind of dead, it feels, right? So like, how do we counter that? Like, how do we counter not being able to run shirking fortification to survive? Because we got in the clump, we got to be tanky. So how do we, if we can't run fortification, what do we do, right? How do we survive? Well, that's where this new build comes in. The idea is to you basically debuff the enemy's damage, right, with weaken. Since you can't buff yourself anymore with fortification, the best thing you can do is debuff them, right? And what's the best way to do that in a 50-50 war? That's right, you guessed it, with a spear. So spear has a skill called skewer, and skewer has a perk called enfeebling skewer, which adds weaken to the enemy, all right, whenever you hit them with it. Now, if you put this perk on a weapon, the weaken percentage goes up to 44%, which is pretty nuts. That's almost pretty close to 50% weaken. Now, for this build, the best weapon combination that I can think of is Spear, Ice Gauntlet. Because then you have your Spear for the weaken, and it has knockdowns or bleeds or, you know, whatever, however you want to run the Spear. And then you also have your Ice Gauntlet for even more support, because you can have your Storm or your Ice Wall on the gate. You also have Entomb if you want to survive, that kind of stuff, or you can run Pylon if you want a stat pad. Everybody knows it's really good. So I've talked to Gladsworth extensively about this idea, and he personally told me that, yeah, this build is genius. Like, this is one of the best things I've seen happen in New World. And for some of you guys, maybe a lot of you guys, I don't know, you might not know who Gladsworth is. He was the original governor of Valid, and Valid used to war against Supple in Castle of Steel. Like, that was the thing that used to happen. All right, so how do we set this up? So initially I was going 300 strength, 200 con, just so I could have more damage and, you know, still survive, be kind of tanky. But to be honest, you're mostly here for support. And with the upcoming patch, you get grit with 300 con. So I do think running 300 con is the better move. So you go 300 con, 200 strength instead. And then you put the rest of the points in dex if you want a little extra damage boost. It's not anything crazy, but it is extra damage, so can't complain. Now, I'm telling you guys, I've been running this build for an OPR and it's super strong. Hopefully you've been paying attention to the gameplay running in the background while you were listening or watching the video or whatever. But you can see the effectiveness, like how annoying I am to the enemy players. They're so weak, they can't do anything. Now, of course, every build has its cons, and I think the biggest con for this build is the damage it does, right? Like, its support is great, you weaken your enemies, but the con is the damage. The damage it does to your brand, because your reputation as an absolute Chad who makes the enemies miserable is gonna skyrocket. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know down below in the comments. I might do more videos like this to, you know, let the New World players know what's the latest and greatest builds. But if you guys have any ideas you want to let me know about, you can either comment it or you can DM me in Discord. But yeah, what do you guys think? That's all for this video though. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and also follow me on Twitch, please.